Because I'm sure you're very interested in some themes in Isaiah in this mashup that has come together from the 700s and the 500s. You're going to see again and again in Isaiah this admonishment for the kings of Judah not to trust in military power. And that's going to sound familiar to you because David was supposed to do the same thing. Trust in the Lord will help you with the things that you need. Also, you're going to notice this emphasis that there's no God other than Yahweh. Even though these other nations are attacking you and claiming that their gods are stronger than yours, Yahweh is the God that is in control of everything, even foreign powers, even Cyrus, even Assyria, all of that. Then this looking for a Messiah. Who will be the king in the line of David? In the early portions of Isaiah that deal more with the 700s, we've got this idea that Hezekiah is kind of a Messiah, an anointed one. Ahaz is too. Isaiah is dealing with them. But by the time we get to the end of Isaiah, by the time we're coming back from the exile, there's this kind of reckoning. Well, who is actually going to restore David's throne? And the answer is Cyrus, the Persian king. And then finally, this final theme is that judgment can purify a nation. And we saw that in our third pivotal moment where Yahweh said, hey, you have been judged and your sins have been paid for. And so now you can come back because you have been put through the ringer, and now you will be allowed to come back, and we can fulfill this covenant, and you can be a part of what God is doing in Canaan. So what can all of this tell us about prophecy in the Bible? Well, things that are important to me are, number one, that the prophet spoke on behalf of God. We already saw that with my little stick figure guy, where I showed you that the prophet is speaking for God. Number two, and this is really important to me, that the prophet spoke about current events. The prophet did forthtelling rather than foretelling. So the Old Testament prophets are not looking into the distant future to say, oh, one day God will send Jesus. No, instead what they're doing is they're talking about current events and speaking into situations that need help in the given time. And then finally, prophetic literature was shaped over time. Sometimes we have this idea that Isaiah sat down one day and just was like, okay, God, I'm listening, like pulled out his cell phone and was like, all right, just tell me what to say, and wrote it all down. That's not necessarily what happened. Instead, what happened is we had a prophet, Isaiah, son of Amos, that lived in the 700s and gave lots of excellent prophecies. And then his disciples or his students carried on his legacy by adding more in the 500s. And so prophetic literature, the way that I want you to think about it, is not just like a Lone Ranger guy running out and being like, God spoke to me and I've got a word for you, but rather a teacher who taught his or her students, and then those students carried on the legacy into the new generation. So hopefully that all makes sense to you now. And that is all I have to say about Isaiah. We'll cover both Jeremiah and Ezekiel in the next lecture.